Hey, William Gilmore here for the ScreenwritersJourney.com. It's day 240 of Season 2, and I've been dealing a lot with log lines lately between Inside the Room and my Saturday group, learning how to pitch and developing a log line for Below the Fold. I've also decided to go back to the marketing on Nowhere to Run, formerly called Come Ups, if you remember that from last fall. Completed that script last year, and in September of 2016, I began doing some marketing on it before I sort of fell off the writing wagon, so to speak. And I had gone through one of the creative directories, and it's a lot of work. There's a lot of pages. I mean, the thing is this thick. And you're looking for people who will accept a query from an unrepresented writer, someone who will accept a query from an unrepresented writer but has had something produced. Somebody who's looking for queries for an action piece, someone who's looking for a thriller piece, someone who's looking for action thriller, someone who's looking for crime. All the things that Nowhere Run could possibly fall into. And I identified a lot in that book, and still had more to go through. But I already had 500-600 identified that I could do, and I started going through and trying to contact them and send out emails. And I got through 100, maybe 150 over 2 weeks, and it's a lot of work because you've got to. Well, I don't know if you have to or not, but I did. I tried to personalize every one of them. Make a professional letter and not just something that looked like it came in across instant messaging on Facebook. And it took a little bit of time, but I kept it very short and sweet. And I got about 150 of those out, I think, maybe 125. And over half of them came back, bounced back, bad email. Either the person didn't work there anymore, or the email was just wrong, or so you pay that money for the book, and the information in it is no longer up to date. And I had the most current, fresh off the presses version of that directory, and the information was already wrong. The few responses I got were, we're not accepting queries at this time. We don't accept query emails, even though they clearly stated in the directory that they did when they filled out their form. And nobody requested a copy of the script. And I only got about 20, 25 responses, maybe. The others didn't respond at all. So that was a lot of work with no return. I was like, man, I could be here months doing this, sending these things out. And I got more pages in this directory I can go through and find more people. So I decided to rethink that a little bit, and then life took over, and here we are 6 months later. And Chuck Hustmeyer is one of the writers on one of the forums. He's a New York Times bestselling novelist who has sold 5, maybe 6 screenplays. I think they're all based on his novels. And 2 of them have been produced, and I think a third one is in production, and a fourth one is scheduled to go into production. So the man's got some credits. He's got some street cred. And he is based out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I believe it is. So he's not even in L.A., and he's getting his stuff produced. He's getting it sold and produced. Not big time, it ain't Warner Brothers or Fox or somebody picking up his movies. But he's selling them. They're getting made, and he's getting to enjoy the good life in Louisiana, where rent is a lot cheaper. So, and he has, in the past, used a query service. And there's a lot of questions about query service. Should you do that? Should you not? Stephanie Palmer from Good in the Room says don't do it because you're only going to get lower-end producers who don't pay very well. But when you're trying to make that first sale, maybe you don't need a big one. You just need something to get some notice. And her thing is, just come to L.A., and network, and you'll make, $150,000 sale, maybe $1 million sale, maybe. So I've decided to try one of the query services, Script Delivery, I believe it is. It's one that Chuck recommended. It's $90, and you just basically, I've written the screenplay. Here's the log line. Here's a 3 or 4 line summary. These are my credits, if you have any, and that should only be 2 or 3 lines. It's a short letter, very short. You want it as brief as possible because they're probably not going to make it past the log line. If they like the log line, they may look down a little bit further to see who you are, and then they move on. And they will send that out for you to 9,600 people, managers, agents, producers, production companies, directors, 9,600 people. And you don't have to do a damn thing once you send that initial letter. So I'm going to give that a shot, and we'll see what happens. And hopefully by Monday, we'll have something to talk about on that. Anyway, that's all I have. That's the big news here. Tomorrow I'm going into Inside the Room to do, I think it's the last presentation for Below the Fold, and hopefully get the first act read. But I'll go into more of that detail tomorrow after we make it through that. Anyway, that's all I have for this time on the Screenwriter's Journey. I'm William Gilmore. We'll see you back here next time with everything you need to know about log lines. I really hate log lines. Anyway, that's in the blog from the time. Please keep up the writing, and we'll catch you next time.